Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of the Sean Lowery Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk about a piece of advice from somebody who's very loved that I disagree with. So I could sit here and I could say that I love Gary Vee. I could say that I've read his books. I could say that I've bought his shoes and his wine. I could say he's got a lot of advice on a lot of topics, but I'm not going to say that. Not today, not in this episode. So a lot of people listen to Gary Vee and they hang on to his every word. And today I'm going to cover a specific piece of advice, one specific piece of advice where it's very misleading, especially for people who are just getting started in business. And Gary Vee says something and you listen, so I just want to make sure that people don't take this the wrong way. So this came to my attention because of something I've been talking about recently, and that's focusing on one industry and building a company. So this is a piece of advice I think that people need to understand if they really want to build real wealth. So, making money and building a company, it's not always glamorous. So you're going to have to sacrifice some other paths and some other ideas you have. And this is why I taught myself to get the happiness from the building of the business rather than the passion of just for the product or the service. So this means building a company, building one company. So I want you to listen to this clip from Gary Vee.
When it talks about focus, then how do I actually split my time?
Whose focus? Who gets to decide what focus is? I have a fucking wine company, a shoe deal, content, VaynerMedia, a fucking wine library, Gary Vee, fucking baseball cards I'm trying to sell, garage sale. I'm the least fucking focused fucker you'll ever meet.
Cool.
Guys, if you're a real entrepreneur, you kind of can't just do one thing. That's how we're fucked up, right? Like, I'm gonna come up with 3 business ideas in the next hour. And
All right, so yeah. So he can really get the audience to clap for anything, honestly. So now Gary can probably pull this off running different things at this point in time. So as you get older and get more experience and get smarter and you have people in place, doing something where you're doing a lot of different unconnected things might get easier. But I honestly think that this advice that he said right here, I think it's reckless and I think it's irresponsible for people who are just starting out. So, all right, so here's why focusing on one thing is so important if you want to build a company. Now, Gary is right about one thing here in this clip. He says that many energetic, creative, entrepreneur type people, they do have a lot of different ideas. He said he can come up with 3 business ideas right now. Yeah, like I come up with different ideas all the time. But the creative urges that you have as an entrepreneur, you might want to have different experiences and go on different endeavors. And that's very understandable for an entrepreneur type person. But this is the exact urge that you have to resist. So entrepreneurs build companies. They don't go to garage sales on the weekend. Honestly, if you're going to build a company, that means that your company, it's like your baby. It's your baby. It's your infant little baby. And based on statistics, that baby, that company, it's going to be dead within 3 to 5 years. There's a 90% chance. And all you need in your life is to have one successful business, and you're wealthy for life. So also, besides for that element, it can also give you great happiness and joy, spending time with it, giving it attention, watching it grow, and knowing that. Why would you want triplets? Imagine how much harder it is to take care of 3 kids, to take care of 3 companies, rather than just taking care of one. So if you want to build a company, focus on that company. The reason why so many companies die is because they don't fit in, nobody likes them, they get pushed around, they get bullied, and these markets that you compete in, they're established and they don't want you on the playground. And I promise that your product or service, it's not original. You have competition and you're going to have to compete with somebody. So if you're just starting and if you have many different ideas and they're not connected, you just need to choose one, start it and focus on it. This is where you need to have some entrepreneurial discipline. So when choosing, I think it's smart to pick one that has the best chance of not going obsolete, because say you have 3 or 4 different ideas, you just need to pick one, right? And you have to take the other ones and just forget about them and not ever go down that path of what if I did this? You have to pick one and move forward with it. So some basic things are t-shirts, like I said, landscaping, opening a restaurant. Those are like basic businesses. And for all those, just think about if they'll be there sometime in the future. So for my business that I'm building to exist is United Monograms. And I just need there to be a basic market need for people who wear clothing. So I think people always wear clothing unless, we start living in some virtual reality world. But that's just a little tip on how to pick one. If you build a company on top of a fad, like fidget spinners or Pogs or Beanie Babies, even iPhones, who knows in 10 years if they'll still be the main phone if you're an iPhone case company. But I think generally the clothing business is safe, and I think it's a good idea to build a company on that. But also you have to build a company that's going to adapt and make changes in the future. So maybe if we do go to a virtual reality world, I'll sell personalized clothing in that digital world. So nonetheless, just pick an industry and start and fight and build and nourish that one company. Don't let your scattered lizard monkey brain just run away to the next idea that has no connection with what you already started building. So make the decision quickly and then change it slowly. Because if you have 3 babies and one of them hits an obstacle, then you're probably going to stop focusing on that one and go to the other ones. And in order for a business to exist in a market where people don't want you there, you're going to have to get over a few obstacles. So if you just stick with one, that means you're going to force yourself to overcome those obstacles, which will make your company stronger and more long-lasting. So you have to make it through many rounds of obstacles in order to be a survivable business who makes it past 5 years. And if you just have 3, and then every time you hit an obstacle in one, you quit and go to the other ones, you're never going to have one of those that does the needed work that goes into it. It's not going to get the nourishment and the love. So yes, focus on one thing, cherish it, nourish it, and you have a better chance of building wealth. And here's the other thing that's cool about this. So just like a kid, once the business hits a level of maturity and it starts learning to take care of itself, similar to the teenage years for kids, then you can kind of step away from it and maybe start on some other endeavors or other projects. One thing I've always wanted to build, I've always wanted my own basketball court, my own indoor dome. I want to be able to play anytime. Maybe I'll rent it out for tournaments and events. But what if I started doing that right now? That would basically be irresponsible to my baby, to my company. I could use that money for equipment. I could use that money for new machinery or new technology for United Monograms. So I'm not going to invest in that basketball court now because my business is still a little baby. It can't take care of itself yet. It's only 5 years old. And once my business is mature enough, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years, just like every business, every kid, they're different when they're able to step out on their own. But once I have my company, my money-making machine running, and I don't have to do every detail or continue to be building it or working on it every day, once it's walking on its own and it's driving and it's going out on its own, then I can build my basketball court. It'll be my own little dome. It's going to be sweet. But you have to have your money-making machine running. At that point, where your business is mature enough for you to do something else, you'll also have the resources and probably the skills and experience to succeed at the next thing you want to do. If I tried to build a basketball gym now, it probably would suck. But if I'm rich for my company, I can build a really nice one. And it might only be 15 years away, which is nothing. So you have to have patience. And this is where you see people like Gary Vee start to do different things. He said it himself. He spent his entire 20s and into his 30s every single day just working on his wine company. Every Saturday, every hour of the day, like I do with my company, he just focused on wine only. And that is how he started. And he did that for 15 years. So I think he would even agree with me if he heard me say this. But I really believe that the way to be an entrepreneur is by building a company. If you're just like a fun guy or girl and you want to do a bunch of different things, like flip goods on Amazon, maybe start a YouTube channel, day trade stocks, that's cool. And that is kind of entrepreneurial in a way. That's an entrepreneurial spirit. And maybe you can make up money. Maybe you can make a lot of money. You probably make more money than me in the short term. But it's such a different mindset when you have to see yourself as the leader of a company, you think differently, and you just become a force when you know that you need to be patient and you're building a company that in maybe 20 years can just be a cash cow for you and it can be the launching point for everything you ever wanted. And at this point, when you're just starting and your baby is young, you run away and start something else, nothing is ever going to get the nourishment it needs to be what an entrepreneur dreams of, is having a company. So yeah, I think an entrepreneur is someone who builds companies. And to do that, you need to focus on one idea and you need to see it through. And you might get sick of it and you might get bored of it and you're going to hit obstacles and you're going to have ups and down years, but you have to stick with it if you want to build it into a company, because these markets aren't just going to let you in until you have years and years of experience under your belt, because they've been doing it for years and years. So if you really want to be a company, you have to be in a marketplace where you belong. In order to get there, you have to fight. You have to put all of your effort towards it. So that's why this piece of advice from Gary Vee, it just seems wrong to me. It seems like the wrong way for an entrepreneur to think. And not only is building a company the way to get the most wealth for your life, I also think that building a company will make you happy and it will give you a connection. And if you're patient and you build it up when it's a youngster, then you'll have the time to do the projects later on. So you'll be able to do them right because your company will be healthy, and that is the time when to explore other ideas. Now, this takes discipline. It takes entrepreneurial discipline, but listen to me on this. Don't listen to Gary Vee if you want to build a company. And all you entrepreneurs out there, go build companies. Don't get it confused. Don't do a million different things. So that's it. Thanks for listening.